newly elected woman to our Congress, Congresswoman Kim Schrier. She's from the great state of Washington. She is a physician and a powerful advocate for science and women across this country. Thank you for being here. She's not a member of this committee, but she wanted to be here and to speak out, and I thank you for being here all day, supporting our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I laugh because I thought you were going to talk about Ayanna Presley, who is a remarkable member of our freshman class.
I already talked about her.
I came here today to talk about these unnecessary restrictions on a woman's access to full reproductive care, access to abortion. And we have heard about a million ways that local governments and state governments are trying to restrict a woman's access to a safe and legal medical procedure. And every one of these unnecessary ultrasounds, bogus scripts, hallway size, admitting privileges at local hospitals, second pelvic exams, even first pelvic exams, admitting privileges I mentioned, and even waiting periods, all of those are unnecessary. They make it harder for women. They especially make it harder for women who are poor, who would have to take additional time off work, who would have to travel great distances. These do not stop abortions. If you want that as your goal, you should be doubling down on funding for Planned Parenthood for pregnancy prevention. These do not stop abortions. They make them later, they delay them, or they make them less safe. They are totally inappropriate. Now, I came to talk about that, and I want to reinforce that this is a safe and legal procedure, something that 1 out of 4 women has before she's 45 years old. This is more common than a tonsillectomy. This is common. Chances are excellent, pretty much 100%, that everybody in this room knows somebody who's had an abortion. That's how common it is. So I came to discuss those things, but then I heard all kinds of rhetoric. All kinds of rhetoric. And as a doctor, and thank you all for being here, I really feel like I need to push back on a lot of Ms. Stuckey's comments. Pseudoscience, total baloney, and I don't feel like I can let those things just stand. I mean, it's everything from not understanding a difference between an embryo and a baby, which, by the way, if she believes they are the same, that is a personal, philosophical, and religious decision. That is not a medical distinction, and that is not something that Congress should be involved in. It is not something that she should have any say over any other woman's decision. But there are other things that she talked about, like 20 weeks and pain, totally unproven, bogus. She talked about the gag rule not being a gag rule. It is. When a physician cannot mention that one option for her patient is abortion, that is a gag rule. And by the way, it's a dangerous gag rule, because if a woman is diagnosed with pregnancy and cervical cancer at the exact same visit, an abortion would save her life. Let's be clear. The other one she mentioned was she painted a very happy picture of a 23-week micropreemie. I'm a pediatrician. I've spent a lot of time in NICUs. Let me tell you what the real picture is. The real picture is that you've got about a 50-50 shot of survival, and you've got, if you do survive, a very high likelihood of having consequences later down the line. Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't resuscitate those babies and take care of them in the NICU, but it does mean that she is not giving you the full, correct picture of a situation. But the most egregious one is this discussion that somehow you could pull a baby out 3 days before the delivery and call that an abortion. We call that an induced delivery. That is a baby who is pulled out and handed to their mother or taken to the NICU, where a doctor like me would take care of them if they are in trouble or in distress. If you want to have a conversation about pregnancies and abortions later in pregnancy, let's have a really honest discussion about it. About 1% of abortions happen after 20 weeks, and none of these are because a woman just decided one morning, I don't want to be pregnant anymore. That does not happen. These are all for a reason. Something devastating has taken a turn in a pregnancy. Something has happened either with the health of the mother or the health of the pregnancy, and it is so important that Congress not get into that discussion. This is a decision between a woman and her God and her doctor and her life, and only she knows how to make this decision, and there is absolutely no place for me or anybody in Congress to get into that discussion. What we owe that woman is a little grace and a little trust to make the best decision about her body. I will end there. Thank you, and I am sorry that you had to put up with such harassment today. Thank you for your services.